The sun hung low over the hidden leaf village, casting long shadows across the training grounds where Naruto Uzumaki stood, panting heavily after another grueling session. His orange jumpsuit was damp with sweat, his blue eyes sharp with determination. He'd been pushing himself harder than ever lately, not just for his own sake but for the village he loved. The recent whispers of a mysterious threat lurking in the darkness had put everyone on edge, and Naruto refused to let his guard down. Meanwhile, deep within the dense forests beyond the village's borders, a figure cloaked in black moved with eerie silence. This was Kurotsuki, the puppet master of shadows, a rogue shinobi who had long abandoned his village in pursuit of forbidden techniques. His pale fingers twitched as strands of inky darkness slithered around him like living tendrils. He had spent years perfecting his art, controlling not just puppets but the very shadows themselves, bending them to his will. His latest target? The Nine Tails Jinchuriki, Naruto Uzumaki. The beast's immense chakra would make his shadows unstoppable. The first sign of trouble came when the village's outer patrols failed to report in. By the time Naruto and a team of shinobi were dispatched to investigate, they found only eerie silence, and a trail of darkness seeping through the trees like spilled ink. Then, without warning, the shadows surged to life, forming jagged spears that shot toward them. Naruto barely had time to shout a warning before flipping backward, his hands already weaving signs. Wind style, gale palm. A burst of wind scattered the shadowy spikes, but more rose in their place, twisting into monstrous hands that clawed at the earth. From the darkness, Kurotsuki emerged, his grin visible beneath the wide brim of his tattered hat. So, the infamous Naruto Uzumaki. I've been waiting to test my shadows against your strength. His voice was smooth, almost amused, but his eyes burned with hunger. Naruto clenched his fists, his whisker marks deepening as Kurama's chakra flickered around him. Who the hell are you, and what do you want? Kurotsuki chuckled, lifting a hand as the ground beneath them writhed. Your power, boy. Your shadows will make mine invincible. The battle erupted in an instant. Kurotsuki's fingers danced, and the shadows coiled into serpentine forms, lunging at Naruto with fangs bared. Naruto dodged, rolling to the side before forming a Rasengan in his palm. The blue sphere hummed with energy as he charged, slamming it into one of the shadow beasts, only for it to dissolve into smoke and reform behind him. A tendril lashed out, wrapping around his ankle and yanking him off balance. He hit the ground hard but kicked off, flipping midair to avoid another strike. Kurotsuki's laughter echoed as he wove another set of hand signs. Shadow Possession Jutsu. The darkness beneath Naruto's feet suddenly clung to him like tar, freezing his limbs. Naruto gritted his teeth, feeling the unnatural chill seep into his muscles. But then, Kurama's chakra flared, burning away the shadows in a burst of red energy. Naruto's eyes shifted into slits as his transformation deepened, his nails elongating into claws. You're gonna regret messing with me, he roared, dashing forward with speed that left afterimages in his wake. Kurotsuki's smirk faltered as Naruto closed the distance in a blink. A fist wreathed in orange chakra smashed toward his face, but at the last second, the puppet master dissolved into shadows, reappearing a dozen feet away. Impressive, he admitted, though his tone was laced with annoyance. But my shadows are endless. He slammed his palms together, and the surrounding darkness surged upward, forming a massive, humanoid figure, a shadow golem with glowing crimson eyes. Its fist came down like a hammer, cratering the earth where Naruto had stood moments before. Naruto skidded to a stop, gauging his opponent. This guy wasn't like anyone he'd fought before. His shadows weren't just tools, they were extensions of his will, reacting instantly to his thoughts. But Naruto had faced worse. With a growl, he formed two Rasengans, one in each hand, their spiraling energy distorting the air. Let's see how you handle this. He lunged, weaving between the golem's strikes before driving both attacks into its chest. The shadow beast shuddered, cracks spreading through its form before it exploded into dissipating tendrils. Kurotsuki staggered, his breath coming faster. He hadn't expected Naruto to break through so easily. His fingers twitched, and the shadows around him writhed violently. Fine. If you want a real fight. His body seemed to melt into the darkness, his voice coming from everywhere at once. The very air grew heavier, the light dimming as if the sun itself was being swallowed. Naruto's heart pounded, but he grinned. Bring it on. The real battle was just beginning. The battlefield was a chaotic symphony of clashing forces as Naruto dodged a razor-sharp shadow tendril, barely avoiding being skewered. The puppet master, shrouded in darkness, smirked as his inky minions slithered across the ground like serpents, their movements unpredictable. Naruto's breath came in sharp bursts, his muscles burning from relentless evasion. He had faced countless enemies, but this one was different, shadows couldn't be punched or reasoned with. With a grunt, Naruto summoned a swarm of shadow clones, their golden forms flickering in the dim light. They charged, kunai flashing, but the puppet master merely raised a hand. The shadows beneath them twisted, lashing out like whips, dissolving the clones into smoke. Naruto gritted his teeth. Think. He couldn't just brute force this. The puppet master's control over darkness meant conventional attacks were useless. A shadowy fist erupted from the ground, slamming into Naruto's ribs and sending him skidding back. Pain flared, but he forced himself upright. His mind raced. If shadows needed light to exist, maybe he could disrupt them. Channeling chakra, he formed a Rasengan, its spiraling energy casting a brilliant glow. The puppet master's smirk faltered as the shadows recoiled. Naruto lunged, driving the Rasengan forward, but the puppet master dissolved into the darkness, reappearing behind him. A kick sent Naruto sprawling. "You're outmatched, boy," the puppet master sneered, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Shadows are everywhere. You can't escape them." Naruto wiped blood from his lip, his eyes narrowing. "Yeah? Then I'll just have to make my own light." With a roar, he tapped into Kurama's chakra, his body enveloped in a fiery orange aura. The transformation sent shockwaves through the battlefield, the sheer force dispersing nearby shadows. The puppet master's eyes widened. This was no ordinary opponent. Naruto moved like a blur, his enhanced speed closing the distance in an instant. He unleashed a flurry of punches, each strike forcing the puppet master to retreat. Shadows surged in defense, but Kurama's chakra burned through them like paper. The puppet master snarled, his calm demeanor cracking. "You're just delaying the inevitable." "Shut up," Naruto roared, forming a massive Rasen Shuriken. He hurled it, the whirling disc of chakra slicing through the darkness. The puppet master barely dodged, but the attack carved a path through his defenses. For the first time, fear flickered in his eyes. Realizing he couldn't win with brute force alone, the puppet master changed tactics. He merged with the shadows, becoming one with the darkness. His voice echoed from all directions, taunting Naruto. "You'll tire eventually. And when you do, I'll drag you into the abyss." Naruto's breathing was heavy, but his resolve didn't waver. He closed his eyes, reaching deep within himself. "I need something more." Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. "You're not done yet, kid. Show him what we're made of." With a burst of determination, Naruto's aura flared brighter, his chakra condensing into a cloak of pure energy. The ground trembled as he entered his most powerful state. The puppet master's shadows withered under the intensity, his form flickering back into view. "No. How?" Naruto didn't give him time to react. In a flash, he was upon him, delivering a devastating uppercut that sent the puppet master soaring. Before he could recover, Naruto appeared above him, slamming him back into the earth with a crushing axe kick. The impact cratered the ground, dust billowing into the air. The puppet master lay broken, his control over the shadows shattered. Naruto stood over him, panting but victorious. "You underestimated me," he said, his voice steady. "I don't just fight for myself, I fight for everyone who believes in me." The puppet master's lips twisted into a bitter smile before his body dissolved into wisps of darkness, vanishing entirely. The battlefield fell silent, the only sound Naruto's ragged breaths. He exhaled, his transformation fading. He'd pushed past his limits, adapted, and emerged stronger. But as he turned to leave, a chilling laugh echoed behind him. The shadows stirred once more, coiling like a waking beast. Naruto's heart pounded. It's not over yet. The true climax was just beginning. The battlefield was a storm of dust and shadow, the air thick with the scent of scorched earth and the metallic tang of blood. Naruto's breath came in ragged gasps as he skidded backward, his sandals carving trenches into the cracked ground. Across from him, the puppet master, cloaked in darkness, his silhouette flickering like a dying flame, raised a hand, and the shadows beneath Naruto's feet twisted into serrated blades. Naruto barely flipped away in time, the shadow slicing through the air where he'd stood. "Damn it," he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "This guy's got an answer for everything." The puppet master's laughter was a hollow echo, his voice dripping with malice. "You're predictable, Uzumaki. Your strength, your speed, even your so-called unbreakable will, are nothing but tools for me to manipulate." His fingers twitched, and the shadows surged forward like a tidal wave, forming monstrous hands that clawed at Naruto. One wrapped around his ankle, yanking him off balance. Naruto gritted his teeth, channeling chakra into his palm. Rasengan. The sphere of spiraling energy obliterated the shadow, but three more took its place. Naruto's mind raced. Every attack he launched was countered, every strategy anticipated. The puppet master wasn't just controlling shadows, he was reading Naruto's movements, his thoughts, as if they were his own. But then, a memory flashed, Jiraiya's words from long ago: the key to breaking any technique is understanding its creator. Naruto's eyes narrowed. If the shadows were an extension of the puppet master's will, then maybe. With a roar, Naruto unleashed a barrage of shadow clones, dozens of them charging from all angles. The puppet master smirked, weaving hand signs as the shadows lashed out, impaling each clone in rapid succession. But Naruto wasn't among them. He'd burrowed underground, his chakra suppressed, his presence masked. The moment the puppet master's guard wavered, just a fraction of a second, Naruto erupted from the earth, his fist glowing with raw energy. Aura. The punch connected, sending the puppet master flying. But the victory was short-lived. The man dissolved into shadow, reforming a few feet away, unharmed. Clever, he admitted, but futile. His eyes gleamed with something darker now: desperation. The battle had pushed him, too, to his limits. Naruto felt it then, the weight of exhaustion, the ache in his bones. But he also felt something else, the warmth of his friend's belief, the unyielding resolve of those who'd fought beside him. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting for them. His hand clenched. "I won't lose," he growled. "Not to you. Not to anyone." The puppet master sneered. Empty words. He raised both hands, and the very sky darkened as the shadows converged into a colossal, writhing beast, a nightmare-given form. It lunged, its maw gaping, ready to swallow Naruto whole. But Naruto didn't flinch. Instead, he closed his eyes. And for the first time in the battle, he stopped fighting on instinct. He listened, to the wind, to the distant cries of his allies, to the faint pulse of the puppet master's own chakra, buried beneath layers of control. There. A flicker of hesitation. A crack in the facade. Naruto's eyes snapped open, blazing with determination. He didn't dodge the shadow beast. He ran straight into it, his body encased in the golden glow of Kurama's chakra. The shadows tore at him, but he pushed through, his fist cocked back. This ends now. The puppet master's eyes widened, just for an instant, before Naruto's fist slammed into his chest. Not with brute force, but with something deeper. A surge of chakra, pure and untainted, that shattered the darkness coiled around the man's heart. The shadows recoiled, screeching as they dissolved into nothingness. The puppet master crumpled, gasping, his control severed. Silence fell. The battlefield was still. Naruto stood over his fallen foe, his breath heavy. The puppet master looked up, his expression hollow. "Why?" he whispered. "Why couldn't I break you?" Naruto offered a tired smile. "Because some bonds can't be controlled." The aftermath rippled across the land. With the puppet master's defeat, the shadows that had plagued the world receded, freeing villages from their grip. Allies reunited, their spirits lifted by Naruto's victory. But more than that, something fundamental had shifted. The puppet master, once a symbol of despair, was given a choice: redemption or solitude. And though the scars of battle remained, the future was brighter for it. As the sun rose over the horizon, Naruto turned his back on the battlefield, his steps lighter. The fight was over. But the journey? That would never end.